I think I was in denial because there's a stigma. Oh my, if you wear hearing aids, you're done. You're done for. And little did I know that once you get hearing aids, life begins. Hi, my name is Cele LaChance. I've lived in Bloomington since 1981. I'm a retired teacher, family counselor, martial artist, teacher. My biological father, is a French-Canadian Indian, and his name was Cele LaChance. And so a long time ago, when I parted relationships, I sought to take his name. So legally, I changed my name to Cele LaChance. Interesting, because he wanted me to live with his relatives, so I could have been a French dancer somewhere. But my biological mom said, no, she's going to stay in the States. So I'm actually a citizen of both, and I'm a member of the Algonquin Nation, the Abenaki tribe of the Band of St. Francis. I lived in an orphanage till age 8, because a lot of Native American children did, and that was very peaceful, and the nuns just ran a nice little orphanage for us, and we learned how to clean and learned how to do in 30 seconds what some people do in a lifetime. So, and then when I got adopted, went to like a rural area, so that wasn't very noisy. It wasn't until I graduated from high school and I got a job in a factory, and I'm like, whoa, that's pretty bad. Motorola TV. We were wiring and soldering parts for the back of the radios and TVs at the time. Well, you had to yell to each other in order to, communicate, how things were going. But that was kind of mild compared to my part-time job that I had at Mitsubishi. Oh, that was constant. And I mean, it was just so overwhelming and I think I knew then that there may be some hearing issues, because I could see people talking to each other, and I'm like, I don't have a clue what they're saying. It didn't hit me until I was teaching 6, 7, and 8-year-olds martial arts. And they would be talking, and I thought, if they have a need or something, I'm just not quite aware of what they're saying. And then we had the adult class, and I'd have someone say, LaChance. Yes, sir. I didn't quite hear what he wanted us to do. He goes, no, a downward block, no, upward block. So that's when I thought, dang, I'm not really hearing well. And, we had to be quiet, because when the master speaks, you have to be quiet. So I was missing a lot of their cues. I found that very difficult. And that's when I thought, I think we need to do something about this. So that's when I took my son up on going to see Dr. Hanley. I think people delay talking about hearing losses because there's some type of stigma sometimes. Oh, she's getting to be an old lady, she can't hear. It wasn't really that I didn't feel comfortable until my son said, Mom, I'm working for a hearing aid company. So the more I thought about it, I thought, oh, gosh, it's like a doctor in the family. So that's when I said, I really think it would be nice if this Dr. Hanley that you got a hold of, if she just tests my hearing. Again, denial. I think I was in denial because there's a stigma. Oh my, if you wear hearing aids, you're done. You're done for. And little did I know that once you get hearing aids, life begins. We went through that process. I met her, and she tested me, and she said, we have some hearing loss. And I immediately felt validated by her because she shared that she wore a hearing device. So I've been with Dr. Hanley since 2015, and she's made my life just so meaningful. One of the most practical things she did, we went through an evolution of different hearing aids. These last hearing aids I got in 2022, I had shared with her that I had a titanium plate in my head, and that a CPAP machine that I had, they had to recall it because there were magnets on it. After we started talking about these wonderful hearing aids that will be chargeable, she said, well, I want to let you know that I called Signia, because that's the ones that are making it, and asked if there's any magnets in their hearing aids. And they said there might be a little one in the charger, but none in the hearing aids. And I thought, that's the most awesome audiologist who knows that I have something that could possibly be a hazard to wearing hearing aids. And yet she went ahead. And then one of the last times I was there was this man, he walked in, he goes, these are my 96-year-old mom's hearing aids. And somebody at the counter said, well, we have to see your mom and da-da-da. One of the doctors came up and said, now, wait a minute. We can check the hearing aids if there's something wrong with them. And then she said, yeah, they checked them. She says, there seems to be a little problem. Is there a time that we could bring mom in or maybe not? And he said, absolutely. So the fact that they demonstrate kindness, and I recognize that because I preach kind master. I'm a kind master. I want my children to be kind masters and grandchildren. And so I thought, gee, what a great group, that they're constantly thinking about people. The first experience of getting my hearing tested at Bloomington-Normal Audiology, you take in this soundproof room, and I thought, I got to pass this because I am not going to be an 80-year-old person having hearing aids. And here I am, 80 now, and having hearing aids. Dr. Hanley was so wonderful, and now you're going to hear this, now you're going to hear that. And then after we finished one ear, I said, do you give letter grades when you flunk the test? She said, no. And so I think that, the apprehension, like, oh, geez, am I going to have to take sign language? And that's where she put me at rest with her hearing. She showed me these kind of hearing aids, and I thought, oh, okay, we can get them flesh colored. Yeah, I was just really apprehensive because of the stigma of hearing aids, which is so wrongly put, that, life stops at 65 and you're hearing, you can't see, So when we finished, she said, well, there's equal distribution of hearing loss. And I thought, okay, I can handle that. So I guess I passed the test halfway. I even kind of thought, now, maybe it's a thing where I just have to wear hearing aids part-time, if I'm in a crowd or something like that. You get used to the fact that they put something in your ear and you can hear it. That thought about wearing them part-time kind of dissipated. I liken it to someone who is colorblind and gets a pair of glasses that they can see color. That same thing, I can hear the birds, and I can hear footsteps, and I don't have to have the TV blaring. I was just awestruck at what this little tiny machine could do in my ear. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to wear them with pride. I was just totally amazed at the world that was opening up to me. I was just so excited that I thought, you know what? I'm bigger than this. I'm not going to be intimidated. We're just going to wear them with pride. And I did mention to her, I said, so do you have them in teal colored? You take hearing for granted, what you can hear every day. This is what it is. But then when you're shown this little gem and you turn it over and go, wow, that's beautiful. I thought, oh, I wonder if I can wear them when I sleep, because I don't want to miss any emergencies. And I know I had a couple alarms set. I didn't have to have 2 alarm clocks after that. I also did some childcare at Four Seasons where we had our martial arts, and I could hear all those kids. I could hear their sounds and the baby's sounds. At home, it was so much more peaceful because I don't have the TV up and I can hear the cat, pawing at something. And, when my dog wanted to go out, I heard him. I'm like, oh, he doesn't have to stand by the door so much now. Talking on my cell phone. I had to have my ear to my cell phone. I always had to have the speaker on high. I thought, no wonder I wore the phone out. I guess I didn't realize that I was kind of living in a vacuum. I was living like in one of the rooms where I got my hearing tested. And that's scary. And then I like to walk my dog, and I thought, yeah, I never heard if anybody was walking behind me. So this is now a change. One evening I was walking my dog, and it was dark, and I heard footsteps. I went, oh, shit. And they kind of got closer. And because I'm a martial arts, he got really close to me, and I did one of these, and I hit him in the neck. And I heard him go, "Oh!" And then he ran, and I'm like, "What are you following me so closely for?" And so he ran down the street, and I was just so grateful that I had hearing aids, that I could hear him walking behind me, because the dumb dog didn't make any move like there was somebody behind me. I don't ever walk the dog unless I have my hearing aids on. You know, we had Christmas for my family, and it was so nice when, 10 people were in the room and I could pick up on all their conversations. Wow, I miss so much. Kevin is probably the happiest, because he's just like, "I'm so glad you picked up on it, Mom." And I just said, the fact you plugged me into Dr. Hanley, who is a very humble person, a very caring person, and remembers details. How could you remember that I said that I, set off alarms with my titanium plate and I'm sensitive to magnets? Who would necessarily remember that? She did, that she would go ahead and call the company. I am so sorry that I thought that once you turn 65 or 70, you're done. It's just such a world of difference. So many more things that I can do. And spending the quality time with my family that I can hear. That to me is the number one takeaway from my hearing aids. I spend quality time with my grandchildren and children, and I can hear every word they say. If you think you might have any hearing loss, don't go to the mall and go to some drugstore. Go to a doctor, an audiologist, because life doesn't end at 65 when you're eligible for Social Security. There's so much more that you can do that I am doing. I'm using my hearing so much more. And that's the part that you want to tell people. You have to be able to hear the outside noises, the birds, hear people that you like who may not talk as loudly as you. That's the tragedy of it all, that there should be more people wearing hearing aids, that you don't, "Oh, well, we just have to talk real loud to them." No, because your world is void. You can't hear what's really going on, even though they yell at you. BNA and Dr. Hanley have opened up a door to a life I thought I had. I didn't think that I was lacking anything. I thought I was a really cool person. But now that I can hear everything, they've opened up a whole new 10 years for me, a whole new decade of my life that I would not have known that I'm missing. All the senses are great, but when you lose your hearing, that's really rough, because you're losing human contact. You're losing the sound of someone's voice. When you are void of hearing, you're set up for kind of failure, like you're just going downhill. You don't know anybody, you can't hear anybody. Where Dr. Hanley and crew gave me life. My life came back to me in Technicolor, in stereophonic, in all these little speakers that I can hear. That's life for me.